Game number 3, Soup up 2-0. It's been a brutal series thus far for Kimo. He's been on the back foot, kind of. Well, he kind of had a little bit of an advantage in game number 1, but basically for the entirety of this series, he has been on the back foot, not able to get anything going here. We are on Ghost Lake now for game number 3. We'll see what god Kimo is going to go for. What god Soup. Wait, it's not Ghost. What? It's not Gold Rush. Let's stop lying for a second here. The map is Arabian Basin, not Gold Rush at all. So we'll fix that one up. And yes, so Arabian Basin. So we've seen Kimo use his Zeus and use his Ra here. We've seen Soup use his Kronos and use his Odin. So what gods would we potentially see on this map? Okay, so for starters, this map I think is really, really good for set. I think this is a really great set map. Lots of hunt to convert. Lots of really, really strong timing attacks possible here. And the works there, especially with shifting sands to circumvent and vision to circumvent any sort of walling shenanigans that come through. I think that Gaia here is incredibly strong as well. And I think the Greeks here are pretty good to boot. So we'll have to wait and see. Getting into game number 3 here, ladies and gentlemen, and see what they're going to be picking as the game gets underway. Spawning in the bottom of the map, in the blue color, playing as Set. His name is Kimo. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Thor. His name is Soup. The map is Arabian Basin, as we already said, and we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen here in this game as Kimo already moving forward. I don't know if I like these plays here with the priest. I'm going to talk a little bit about the right way to play with Set, but let's talk about strategy in terms of the early game with Set. But let's talk about strategy. This is a really, really interesting matchup because on the surface here, Thor should find himself in a very, very difficult position in this matchup. However, it's not an open map. So the reason why Thor normally struggles here is we already see walls coming up by Soup. The reason why Thor would struggle against Set is normally because Anubis are a thing. Anubites are a really big problem for Norse in general. But on this map, you can just wall. Apparently, you can just wall your opponent in, and that's completely fine. But you can wall in yourself, and you're not going to get raided at all. As we see another Ulfsark coming out as he's searching around the map to take out the priests that's currently converting these animals over here in the middle of the map. Got to be very careful with this. This is what I'm talking about. We'll get to this when Soup actually spots this, but yeah, it can be a very, very difficult time for the Thor player against Anubites because everything walls up. Anubis isn't an option here. Not only that, you have a really safe second town center as possible. And now we see the priest being found here with double Ulfsark. Now, how do you counter this as Set and never struggle against this ever again? It's 2 minutes into the game. Well, what you do is you find yourself a fat hunt. It takes 1 minute or just over 1 minute to convert a fat hunt. I call these fat hunts. We've got the rhinoceros, we've got the elephant, you've got the hippo, the water buffalo, the crocodile, the lion, literally anything with a high amount of attack damage. And you literally just sit that next to your priest, and these two Ulfsarks are not going to be enough to deal with this. As we see the priest here, going to be getting picked off as the Skraeling coming over onto this position. 3 HP remaining, 1 HP remaining, and it does end up falling there as the zebra on that position is going to get picked off as well. Kimo's going to be finding himself now in a very, very difficult position moving forward. The wall going to get replaced up on this position as another villager comes through to say, get out of here, Soup. No walls for you on this day. But the big question behind all of this is going to be, what strategy does Soup go now? And Kimo now getting shut down very hard in the early game here. It looks like he's going for it looks like he went for a 4-minute advance time, but we already know that for some reason here's a little secret about Kimo. This is a little known secret. Kimo, he's admitted this. Kimo has no build orders outside of Ra. He just wings it, which is a pretty big deal when it comes down to it. He just wings it. He's already this good just winging it. But this is why we watch like Kimo play set and his build order is a little bit off. As we do see the wooden wall coming up over here to finish off this location. Nice play by Suppe here. He's going to be walling Kimo in for the time being here. As the Ulfsark will be retreating away. Is there an opening here? Not sure. And Suppe probably should go after this town center nonetheless. There's 2 rhinos over here. It's a nice town center. And he could be fine. Meanwhile, Suppe is going up through Freya at this point as he's moving forward onto this town center. Now, part of me is partial for Thor players to do against set, to do a 2 town center fast heroic through Skadi if you seek Thor. The reason for this is it doesn't necessarily counter a shifting stance timing attack, but it allows you to slow the timing attack down enough that you can leave the location, allow your opponent to cast Ancestors and just evacuate everything and not lose any villagers and be in a really, really good position to continue in the game. Considering you've had 2 town centers, you got the heroic gauge, you probably have got a hill fort, all the other good stuff. As the relic does get picked up over here, Oseberg wagon for Suppe is going to be absolutely gigantic here as well. Longhouses all get dropped down by Suppe as well. As we do see Kimo trying to break down this wall with all of his animals over here, as the town center is going to get dropped down by Kimo. It makes perfect sense to grab this one. It's very, very late though. I'm surprised how late this is for Kimo, but we'll see how much this is going to matter or not. Considering it's 0 monuments here for Kimo, I think even 0 monuments, even 1 monument, you can get a 402 town center or a town center starting to be built at 402 into the game. But we see the wall going down, the barracks going down over here as well for Kimo, as he's fairly aware about how aggressive Suppe likes to play. The Pharaoh over here ready to defend on this position. Good little micro here from Kimo, trying to keep his villager alive over here as the Valkyrie looks like it will be going down or barely going down as this villager just going to come over here, try and stay safe. Oh, I thought it might actually attack that one over there as the Valkyrie going to search around in the main base looking for some villager kills over here. The unit's just about to finish up with that wooden wall as we see a second town center now coming up for Suppe. Now this does beg the question now, if Kimo is relatively aware of that second town center going up, there is a cheeky third, like a reaction to this, kind of like a flowchart, if you will. And it says, and the flowchart kind of says for set, if you see this town center going up, just grab a 3rd town center. We might see Kimo doing this as he sends his animals out onto this position. He could shifting sands all these units into the main base here, but it's already basically finished off. So if he goes for, and he does go for this, he's going to get a lot of kills over here. But well, is he going to get a lot of kills over here? I don't know. There's lots of Hursa on this position. Those animals are going to go down really, really fast. So town center is out of range, and the villagers over here might find themselves having a bit of trouble here as the as the forest fire gets dropped down. One villager is going to get picked off here as Kimo going to be retreating away. Going to have to garrison inside of the tower here as the Hursa getting low HP there from the town center. One does end up going down. This watchtower will end up falling though. As do we see this town center going up just yet? No, Kimo's just getting some units out, trying to look for some forward pressure, but there's really not going to be a whole lot to attack here with Kimo's units, as he's going to be pulling back ever so slightly. As the watchtower will go down, which will open up these villages to an attack. These Hursa probably not going to be long for this world here. Kimo could very easily just send his Pharaoh back, an Axeman or something as well, and just clean everything up over here. As we do see the villagers moving up onto these rhinoceros over on that location there. The villagers popping out into the middle of the map, going to grab the hunt in that location as well, as the tower's getting some damage done over here. And we'll see how things are going to start coming through as we see 3 barracks getting dropped down now for Kimo. If you do some quick math as to how many villages you actually need for each unit, I'm pretty sure you need more villages than Kimo has to produce from all of those barracks. We'll have to wait and see, as the population slight advantage right now for Suppe at 63. These units are obviously all going to go down for not very much of a trade here in this game. as the population now gets a little bit equalized. And the units coming through onto this position. We've got a lot of throwing axemen here. Is Soup kind of recognizing that Kimo doesn't have any slingers out really just yet. Slingers now starting to come through as the raiding cavalry coming around onto this location as well, trying to pick off that villager there. So we see the Pharaoh getting in onto this position, going to be helping out a lot to defend here. These slingers need to be targeting down those throwing axemen as the throwing axemen do deny that barracks, but that's not really that big of a deal here as Kimo now has the resources to drop this town center whenever he feels like, go up to 3 town centers. But I mean, it's a little bit scary if you ask me, dropping this town center now at this point. When I said that 3rd town center drop, I was talking maybe when you see your opponent getting their town center, you move forward and grab yours. As we do see villagers over here sneaking this food. I like that play from Kimo. But now, if you drop it now, what you're asking your opponent to do, and you're begging them to do it in all honesty, is a brutal heroic age timing, which I'm not sure the 3 town center play is quite going to be able to defend against. So we'll see if Kimo does go for that. And he does have some really safe gold mines back here. It's going to be really, really hard for the Thor player to stop that, to cut that off, which is one of the big reasons why like Egyptian here is going to be a decent pick. But again, all you got to do is control the center of the map, and you control the rest of the gold mines, and you get 4 town centers, which is definitely something that that Norse is capable of against Egyptian as well. As the army going to be retreating back here for Kimo. Units swinging around over onto this position now. Soup pulling back as well. So I haven't seen this town center going up. Looks like Kimo here, he's still producing units, whereas Soup has basically stopped. And this is almost, I would say this is textbook play from Soup. This would not be something you'd be surprised to see from a Norse player. If you're playing classical fight, 2 town center as set is going to be a semi-fast heroic, because what are you going to be doing with your army? This is something I kind of talk about quite a bit, especially when you're talking about fundamentals of this game, is why do something in the game? Why build an army when you're playing? You build an army because you see a weakness in your opponent's position that you want to exploit, or because there's a weakness in your position that you need to defend. So right now, Kimo's thinking he needs to defend his hunt over here, which is actually very, very true. So he's got his army out, but he has left his villagers kind of in an open space here, as now Soup notices it, and Kimo's army is going to be out of position and having to lose a couple of villagers over here. As villagers going down over on this position here. The throwing axeman coming through here. We do see Skadi is already 60% the way through. Kimo's got himself 1,200 gold in the bank at the moment, as it seems to me like he has missed macro this, quite severely in this game. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to figure out a way to spend that gold. For example, there's 60 favor in the bank, so building a whole bunch of priests here wouldn't go astray for Kimo in preemptive fashion to deal with all of the Frost Giants or Valkyrie that are potentially going to be coming out here, as the army now coming onto this position. And we do see the Frost getting dropped immediately. He doesn't hit all the villagers, but he does hit a couple of them, and these units are going to die quite fast over here, as Soup's going to be pumping out units left, right, and center. Doesn't have any armory upgrades through just yet. He does have himself Pierce armor already, as the Frost Giant going to come through, take down a villager over here. One of the big advantages of this fight for Soup is that he's going to be able to start pumping a whole bunch of Frost Giants. And in this moment, he's actually taken this opportunity to drop 2 hill forts here, which means Jarls and it means Huskarl. But Soup's already got himself medium infantry in this game, which probably indicates he wants to go into the Huskarl version more so than the Jarl version. We'll have to wait and see, because this does allow Kimo now, using this Frost, Soup having used this Frost, to have access to a fairly undefensible Ancestors revenge timing in this game, as the army is going to be pulling back here into this location. We've got spearmen, we've got slingers, we've got everything else popping out over here. Is the priest going to get taken down over on this location? We've got the spearmen going after the raiding cavalry here as best as they can. Kimo going to be doing everything that he possibly can here in this game to hold on. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Soup being able to hit the Mythic Age here really, really soon. And given this map, probably I wouldn't say Ragnarok is the best bet here, So probably a really, really early 2 town center tier is going to be brutal, as we do see the old Sark now moving up onto this position. The other option actually is to go for a, funnily enough, and you're going to laugh and you're going to say, I'm crazy, but a Wonder Ragnarok or Ragnarok Wonder strategy, Ragnarok Titan Wonder strategy could be an option as well for the Thor in the late in the very late game if he wants to go through that, utilizing a whole bunch of fire giant to hold on to his position and everything else. As Kimo pulling back, he's trying to grab this town center as well. He does have 4 priests at this point. He has his upgrade Hands of the Pharaoh. Or is that Hands of the Pharaoh? Yeah. Which gives the priest ability to pick up relics, but more importantly, an extra 2 range to attack those frost giants from afar. Now, obviously, if you get to the heroic age, you get even more range on those priests, and that can be really, really helpful as well. As you do see, this town center is getting denied for the time being here, as Kimo desperately trying to hold on to this position over here. The Wadget in the back slingers need to get onto those axemen over there. We still don't have any more upgrades or armor upgrades onto those throwing axemen from Suppe here. As the spearmen trying to get through onto this position, kind of misposition those as they're attacking the throwing axemen. But Kimo's got an incredibly good concave here with his slingers to take down Suppe's units over here. As Suppe is sending it completely in onto this position over here, as it looks like Kimo he's not getting axemen out at this point. He needs the axemen to deal with those Huskars. He's trying to micro a little bit, still trying to get this town center up, and it looks like Kimo, for the time being, his population is dropping down, but surely he can hold on this position given the defender's advantage. But Kimo, I mean, Suppe's just continuing to just flood units through here. Able to take down those priests as well. We do see the Pharaoh coming out. The priests here on the back still alive, so that frost giant going to get taken down really fast. We also see Suppe getting himself Winter Harvest super early here in this game, preemptively grabbing that one to start putting the farms down. Because, I mean, there's plenty of hunt. Well, maybe there's not plenty of hunt remaining. He's almost out of hunt on the map, but he's going to have to start farming. And with that winter harvest already being grabbed, when he goes into farms, he's going to have a very, very small amount of loss here, as Kimo sends even more villagers back in onto this location, trying to shank down the units over here. Kimo's sitting at 91 of 130 population compared to Suppe's at 130 of 130 population. He is just too far in front in this game, as more frost giants coming through here, taking them out beautifully at this point. We see the spearmen trying to take out these raiders as fast as they possibly can, as the priest going after the frost giant in the back over here as well. The Wadget not going to quite go down because the frost giant does end up falling. Kimo at 82 population, very little gold in the bank at this moment. What are his upgrades looking like? He's got pickaxe, but no shaft mine here, as he desperately needs. Well, he's got actually has a decent amount of resources here. I think he's just short production. You know, when I was saying when you've got 30 villagers, 2 racks are enough. Well, when you've got 60 villagers, 4 racks or 5 racks are enough, and we just don't see enough here from Kimo as he's pulling back into his main base. We will be seeing the units garrisoning into these buildings here as Suppe's grabbing upgrades. He's still getting this trade route going. He's getting himself a 3rd town center on this location as well, as Suppe retreating back, realizing probably not the best idea to stay in here and wait for those units to come out. He might decide to turn around and take a fight here, but getting himself signal fires as well to make sure that no sneaky shenanigans come through. Wouldn't mind seeing these walls finish off over here. I love that this location over here has been walled off as well by Suppe, as the villagers coming back in over here to try and grab this town center back up. More frost giants in over here, both at full HP, as there's like 3 priests only for Kimo here, as it looks to me like Kimo has to pull back yet again to try and hold on in this situation. We see some pretty nice frost usage there from the Suppe frost giants, trying to tank as much damage as possibly can here. You've got to figure out a way to deal with these heroes, though, if you're Suppe, if you want to hold this position at this point, as the Pharaoh priest getting some damage done onto both these frost giants. We'll be able to pick them both off. Meanwhile, heavy infantry has come through for Suppe, giving him even more of an advantage in this game. However, now 145 of 145 potential population here for Suppe available, but his resources are now starting to get a little bit low. So too for Kimo, but More villagers are going to be able to come out. Farms getting sprayed up everywhere. Let's check out the economic upgrades here for Soup. No plow just yet, but he's getting it. So he's going to have so much economy, so much food income coming through very shortly. Not only that, utilizing this wood line over here after he finished up with the food. Beautiful play where that's concerned, as Kimo trying to take out the frost giants in the back. We see the villagers coming through to try and get this town center up yet again, as Kimo is saying, if I can't get it up, we're going to do it. We're going to die trying. He's still got the Wadget in the back, still helping out quite a bit here, as the Pharaoh Priest doing what they can as well. We'll see the Pharaoh potentially try and empower this one back up, but it's just not going to come through, as the Frost Giants are just going to whack this down. See the raiding cavalry at Huskell coming through onto the back there to take out the heroes in the bank. Soup now at 149 or 160 population. He's got 83 villages, 9 ox caravans to Kimo's 71 villages here, as Kimo is just still not able to make this work here in this game, as all of the focus is on this location. Not only that, we're seeing a hill fort, another hill fort getting dropped down by Soup. If we take a look over in the main base, or the main base, the forward base here for Soup, he's got 6 military buildings up compared to the 3 of Soup of Kimo here, which is telling the full story of this game. We see villagers pushing forward here as well, as a watchtower getting dropped down by Soup, as Soup is just saying, this is my location. I've got the armory advantage, I've got the military advantage, I've got the tech advantage, I've got the economic advantage. And what can Kimo do now in this position apart from just tap out? And that's exactly what happens here, as Soup sweeps Kimo in this series 3 games to 0. An incredible display here from Soup in preparation and just incredibly clean Norse play. And that's the story here of this game. Clean as AF Norse play from Soup, managing to make it work beautifully in this series. The thing is, right, I feel like when you're playing Set, it feels like Set is so weak if you aren't playing Set in the right way. And it's just, one day we'll say, I can't say that Set is definitively not strong until I see Set players playing Set efficiently. Because I see Zeus players playing Zeus efficiently. I see Thor players playing Thor efficiently. I see Uranus players playing Uranus efficiently. Odin efficiently. They say Ra efficiently. But I don't see Set being played efficiently yet. When that day comes and Set continues to lose, then we can decide to actually rank Set where he is. But at this point, I'm still waiting to see the day that someone comes in and goes, you know what, Set pretty good. Let me master that one. But an incredibly well played game here from Soup. Congratulations to him. He's going to go on to the semifinals. Getting to the semifinals means you're in the money. And in the money means happy days. So maybe he can buy himself some nice pumpkin soup. If you guys are enjoying this and really enjoy these tournaments, would appreciate following the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.